Good afternoon, I'm Rob Boskamp, and you're listening to South Texas Midday. Thank you for joining me on this Thursday, December 11th. Earlier this week, Corpus Christi City Council awarded a $2.1 million reconstruction of East Surfside Boulevard. The project will span from Breakwater Avenue to Elm Street and include utility and drainage improvements, plus enhanced traffic mobility, among other key features. The project is funded through fiscal year 2026 allocations from the Street Bond 2022, along with contributions from stormwater, water, wastewater, and gas funds. That same day, the Zone 2 Island Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone Board spent over an hour debating whether to approve an extra $2.1 million for the Briscoe King Pavilion upgrade. Engineers said costs jumped once the 90% design was completed. Gulfstream Condo Board President Ludo Stansky told the board that the seawall project has a $5.5 million shortfall with no way to get the project done. County Judge Connie Scott told the board they can't approve projects without secured funding. Councilwoman Carolyn Vaughn told KIII News the city needs to stop beginning projects without all the money lined up.
We can't be funding projects that there is no financing for.
We've got to quit starting projects that we know we don't have the money for, because you already had the seawall project. Now, we should have found that money ASAP.
City Manager Peter Zanoni told KIII there is currently money set aside in the TIRZ fund.
We'll work on the seawall funding program. So we have $6 million right now in the TIRZ fund for the seawall.
He said his office is now working to secure more money, possibly through the 1/8 cent flood control sales tax or a future bond program. Leaders from across the Rio Grande Valley gathered in Mission on Wednesday as one region, one voice. That was the theme of the regional luncheon hosted by the Rio Grande Valley Partnership. Judges from Cameron, Hidalgo, Starr and Willacy counties highlighted rapid regional growth and the need for unified solutions. Cameron County Judge Eddie Trevino told Valley Central News they don't need to attract just any jobs, but high-paying ones.
And those high-paying jobs are benefiting the entire region. But with this growth, with more homes, with more stores, with more people, with all of this growth, we're having the impact on our infrastructure.
Infrastructure, especially drainage, is now one of the region's greatest challenges. Trevino told Valley Central that cooperation between counties has improved since the pandemic, benefiting smaller communities like Willacy. Willacy County Judge Aurelio Guerra said regional partnerships are already creating real improvements.
Right off the bat, we have Hidalgo County as an example doing in-kind work on a grant that we got pertaining to drainage. We also share the detention facility, which Hidalgo County now has their inmates in there. And obviously it's for a cost, and that cost is going to be reinvested for economic development.
Transportation and mobility were also key topics, including Starr County's State Loop 195, now under construction. The 4-lane relief route is expected to reduce congestion on US 83 and boost economic activity. Starr County Judge Eloy Vera told Valley Central that would give them another route that will connect the valley better. Hidalgo County Judge Richard Cortez said that improved mobility is essential for improving both life and business growth.
Mobility is everything. Who wants to go through a lot of traffic to go buy a Whataburger or anything? So mobility keeps a shopper from not going too far for goods and services.
The discussion also touched on healthcare shortages. Vera noted that when he first took office, Starr County had only one doctor serving the entire population. The county now plans to launch a new doctor residency program next year, as well as a research facility aimed at strengthening local healthcare access. Nueces County employees received a 10% cost of living adjustment increase. The pay increase became effective back in October. Nueces County Judge Connie Scott told KRAS 6 News that she pushed the movement forward and was pleased with the outcome. She also took pride in the agreement amongst commissioners over the decision and said that the increase raises the level of what Nueces County should be at. Commissioners previously had approved the measures while discussing the fiscal year 2025-26 budget. Before that, the concept was 3 years in the making and discussed many times before receiving final approval. The increase comes after employees faced a 10% cut in their budgets and the county experienced a shortage of workers. In state news, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick proposed a plan Tuesday that would again raise homestead exemptions, impacting more than 3 million Texas homeowners. Texas Public Radio's Maria Navarro explains.
Voters gave the okay last month to raise the school district homestead exemption to $140,000 and raise that of seniors to $200,000. The proposed Operation Double Nickel would increase those current exemptions by another $40,000. Patrick says the plan would also reduce the age of qualification for the senior homestead exemption from 65 to 55.
This means at age 55, you lock in a frozen value, and your tax bill will continue to drop as we increase the homestead exemption. This exemption, by the way, stays with you as long as you own a home anywhere in Texas.
Patrick says the measure will be a top priority going into the 2027 legislative session. I'm Mariana Navarro in San Antonio.
Earlier this week, Dallas area Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett officially announced she's running for U.S. Senate. KERA's Becca Moore sat down with the two-term U.S. House representative in a wide-ranging interview yesterday, starting with why she thought now was the right time to jump into this race.
Crockett's made a name for herself as a prominent critic of President Donald Trump and other Republicans, and now she joins the race to unseat Republican Senator John Cornyn. Crockett said polling numbers and recent trends definitely swayed her. She also brought up the Supreme Court's decision to allow Texas to use its new congressional map in next year's midterms.
It is the Supreme Court that got us into this mess. So you know what? It's the Senate that has oversight over the Supreme Court. It's the Senate that actually confirms justices. It is the Senate that historically has put us into the biggest pickles. And that is the part of the map that we need to change.
But Texas is a reliably red state, and one of her potential opponents, John Cornyn, has already tried to tie Crockett to the progressive wing of her party during a recent press call.
I just don't think she's going to play very well in Texas. I don't think an AOC-like candidate will play well statewide.
Crockett disputes that comparison, but she does face an uphill battle. A Democrat hasn't been elected to statewide office in Texas in 3 decades. So I asked her why she thinks this election could be different.
I honestly don't think that this is about partisan politics. I think this comes down to whether or not you want somebody that is going to fight for that tax subsidy so that you can still have your health care be affordable if you have it. I think this comes down to whether or not somebody is going to fight for you to have access to the health care that you don't have, where we have over 5 million uninsured. I think it comes down to someone who's going to fight to make sure that economic prosperity is not just a dream, but a reality for everybody and not just the top 1%ers.
For Crockett's supporters, one of her strengths has been taking on her Republican colleagues in House committee hearings. Many of those moments have gone viral, like this exchange with Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene.
You know we're here about AG.
I don't think you know what you're here for.
Well, you the one talking about.
I think your fake eyelashes are messing up.
No, ain't nothing.
Hold on.
Listen, I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
What now?
But she says she's also no stranger to reaching across the aisle. Crockett talked about working with Cornyn on legislation addressing the fentanyl crisis, as well as food insecurity, and her cooperation with former Congresswoman Kay Granger, a Fort Worth Republican.
But that stuff is boring. That stuff doesn't go viral, but those are the receipts. And so I have relationships, and I frankly only clash when there is a necessity to stand up for people and fight.
She said the relationships she's built at the federal level also set her up better than her Democratic primary opponent, State Representative James Tallarico of Austin.
I have relationships that are already built on both sides of the aisle and in both chambers. And so I think that will benefit Texans the most. Sending somebody in who's actually been there doing the work and already kind of building those relationships, already working on legislation together that we can then refile and continue pressing forward with.
Crockett also pointed to the fact that because she's spent more time in the federal government, there are more people in Texas and across the country who recognize her name.
I have nothing bad to say about James Tallarico, but we kind of keep doing the same thing, expecting a different result. We've started with someone who has an amazing resume and would be great. And we're like, okay, you have no name ID, so let's sink a lot of money into getting people to know your name.
Polls show Crockett's name is more recognizable than Tallarico's, but she thinks it'll take more than that to pull off a win. Currently, less than 50% of the registered voters in Texas regularly cast a ballot. Crockett says her best chance of running a successful campaign is to leverage her name recognition to get new voters to the polls. Whether or not she can is yet to be seen, but we'll find out how she stacks up as the Democratic primary gets underway next year. I'm Becca Moore in Dallas.
And that is the latest news and information on South Texas Midday. I'm Rob Boskamp. Your community arts calendar and more is on the way.